What comes to mind when you think of the highest selling video games? Maybe it's just blocks because of Minecraft and Tetris at the top, with over 100 million sales for just the EA mobile version of Tetris and 238 million for all versions of Minecraft. Then there's GTA 5 with over 175 million sales. Perhaps you still see blocks from that game since it blocks development on GTA 6. Alright, perhaps you think of something less blocky like Super Mario, Pokemon, and Call of Duty. Well, here we have the Wikipedia list of the highest selling video games of all time. Scrolling down the list, as I typically do every Friday night, you might be surprised by some inclusions such as Wii Sports. I didn't buy this. No, but I bought this and apparently that counts. There's also PUBG, or PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which everyone outside of Asia forgot about. Or maybe Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is like the newest game on here. Going down the list, most of these games are classic games or Nintendo games and... hold on. Human Fall Flat with 30 million or 35 million units sold according to its multiple store pages as of March 2023. Actually, never mind. The game actually sold another 5 million copies as I was editing the video, so now it's at 40 million copies sold. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to take a bit to re-edit the video. That's more than all of these games. That's more than any Xbox or PlayStation exclusive ever made. Imagine investing millions of dollars into a game with the most complex systems, the best visuals, and years worth of work just for it to be outdone by this. Human Fall Flat also apparently sold more than Modern Warfare 2019 and Skyrim? Now that's being compared by units sold and not actual revenue, and we'll see how truly misleading that is later on. And the sales record for neither Modern Warfare nor Skyrim has been updated for years. Modern Warfare was last reported to have 30 million sales back in September 2020. As for Skyrim, we don't know yet. Todd Howard himself might not even know, as he just stated it's far more than 30 million in an IGN interview from 2021. Except that sales figure was from way back in 2016. Anyways, regardless if Human Fall Flat doesn't actually outsell those games, it's such a high record for an indie game like this, and that surprises me so much. I don't want to drag on the game too much, but I've barely seen anyone mention this game nor give much adulation, especially compared to other major indie hits like Undertale, Stardew Valley, and well, of course, Minecraft. And it doesn't seem very active in its own forums either. Sure, I've seen some YouTubers and streamers play, but only for a brief time. It is a fun game, but is transient amusement the only reason why it's so successful, or is there much more? What is it about these falling guys that... sorry, wrong game. What is it about these falling humans that makes the game so popular? How did it sell so much, and why does nobody seem to talk about it? Let's explore how Human Fall Flat became one of the highest selling games of all time. So what is Human Fall Flat? Human Fall Flat is a physics-based puzzle game with sandbox elements developed by Tomas Sakalauskas. It's about Bob and his friends navigating their way through dreams or levels by solving a series of puzzles. You can jump, grab, and climb to interact with the world. It's almost like an escape room, but with simple physics-based puzzles and mechanics. The goal is to find the exit and fall through, but there is no rush, and often most of the fun comes from messing around in each dream. Every puzzle can be solved by one person, but they're open enough to allow for multiple solutions, especially with more people. You can customize your human by donning a variety of costumes and colors. The Steam version has even more customization in which you can paint a human and take pictures from your webcam to create these monstrosities. Not only that, but there are also custom maps available from the Steam Workshop. In fact, some of the new official levels for the game come from the community. The game is available on almost every platform, including Windows, Mac OS, Linux, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android. Personally, I like the game. I enjoy how freeform it is, allowing me to solve puzzles in my own way no matter how clever or obtuse. For example, I can go through this level the normal way by solving each puzzle, or I can just climb this train and skip to the end. I also like the physics. It's well simulated and offers its own fun. But it's a double-edged sword as the physics can also make the game feel tedious, especially if water is involved. Honestly though, playing the game on your own is nowhere near as fun as it is with other people. I mean, just wrestling another guy is hilarious enough. Then there's just playing around in each dream solving puzzles in goofy ways. And with a game as apparently big as this, I'm so glad it's not filled to the brim with microtransactions. It's a simple game in all of the ways, mechanically, visually, and monetarily. There's no free-to-play model, no loot boxes, no battle pass, no skins or maps to buy, no shop, just a game you pay for once, and that's it. For now. The game is fine, great to play with friends or kids you might know, but not an experience I would write home about, unless I'm investigating why this game is so dang popular. Now that we have established what human fall flat is, let's follow a bit of human history to see how it evolved. Human Fall Flat was actually released as a prototype on the itch.io store in 2015. The game was Tomas Sakalauskas' last chance at games development as he ran out of money while struggling to make mobile games prior. Oh, maybe this video should be my last chance at being a YouTuber then. The game received its first boost towards success from online exposure. Tomas gave the game to some small YouTubers to help get some footage, and in return, they got to create more fun content. Eventually, larger YouTubers and streamers caught wind of this new hilarious game and brought it to more open light. The exposure and reception prompted Tomas to work on launching the game on Steam to reach a wider market. With the help of Curve Games, Human Fall Flat was released on Steam in 2016 and all consoles throughout 2017 to moderate success. What's important though is that the game has cultivated a community and that Tomas was actively listening to them. Man, that's a great idea. More developers should do that. A top requested feature at the time was online multiplayer, but Tomas thought that impossible because of the game's physics and issues with desynchronization amongst players. However, he found inspiration when he saw how Chronic Games use Nvidia streaming technology to play online together. And so in October 2017, Tomas not only doubled down on multiplayer, but he octupled down on multiplayer, which then led to a huge boost in popularity with the game reaching 2 million sales by February 2018. Multiplayer drives a bunch of sales in games because it's not just one copy being sold at a time, but multiple, potentially 8 in the case of Human Fall Flat. Eventually came Steam Workshop support and more free maps, which well contributed to more sales. That, along with frequent promotions that discount the game or includes it in bundles. The game also expanded support to more regions, finding success in Japan just from the Switch version alone. Human Fall Flat was already considered a huge success with 5 million sales by the end of 2019, but we know this pales in comparison to the behemoths that the game has become. And it took a whole lot of suffering and great luck to make that happen. A major factor to Human Fall Flat's astronomical leap was the COVID-19 pandemic. Lockdown gave a huge boost to the entire gaming industry as a whole. I mean, when you're stuck at home completely isolated, there isn't much you can do. Therefore, many people turned to gaming just to experience anything. It also acted as a fun outlet to socialize with others. I mean, I bought Modern Warfare just as a way to hang out with my friends again. Not only did more people play games, but they watched them as well, which then produced a healthy cycle for gaming with people watching, buying, and playing games. Human Fall Flat was a fairly popular game that was both fun to watch and play, so I'm assuming that more people bought the game because of returning online exposure. It also helps that the game was still being supported through free updates and more maps. I guess technically, Human Fall Flat was also the only way people could make contact with another human at the time. Many other games, not just Human Fall Flat, received a huge boost from the pandemic. Animal Crossing New Horizons came out at just the right time, and Modern Warfare 2019 became the highest-selling Call of Duty title. And of course, there's Among Us, which rose to such prominence during the pandemic despite releasing in 2018 as a free mobile game. However, there was another factor in tandem with the pandemic that greatly contributed to Human Fall Flat's rise. Human Fall Flat gained massive popularity in China with a dual release on mobile and Steam. On December 17, 2020, Human Fall Flat released a mobile port in China, reaching 2 million sales within a week. This was particularly impressive since it was a paid mobile game. I forgot those even exist. On February 9th, 2021, Steam officially launched in China, supporting around 50 games due to the country's strict licensing. And of course, Human Fall Flat was included as a launch title. I mean, nothing offensive could ever come from this game. With that, Curved announced that the game reached 25 million sales total on February 11th, 2021. I'm assuming the game also went viral on Chinese social media, prompting many to play the game. Human Fall Flat's popularity in China is evident in its Steam Workshop page, with many creations originating from China. According to Curved's VP of Franchise Publishing, Gary Rowe, Human Fall Flat has the same stature as Roblox and Minecraft in China.
And what came back was that, and if you look at our social numbers in China, we've got the stature of the real big games like Roblox and Minecraft, and Human Fall Flat is very much up there, in terms of how they love it. It was really, they see it as their real first indie game. It's described as the father of indie games.
He also noted that Chinese players enjoyed the game because it offered a nice contrast to more competitive games like PUBG. Now, the game's popularity in China could also be attributed to another sneaky reason: its pricing. While the game costs around $20 in the US, in China, the game costs around $8.46. That is significantly cheaper, especially when it's not even discounted. On mobile, the game costs around $2.63 in China. The US price? $5. Not only that, but the game also launched at a discounted price, which probably contributed to its quick sales. Now we really see how misleading unit sales statistics are. Whether the game was sold for $20 or $1, a sale is a sale. Regardless, its success in China is very significant and acts as another demonstration of why the Chinese market is so valuable. There's just lots of potential customers there. So it seems that the persistence of smart decisions and great luck helped make the game so successful. And well, that seems to be the key to almost every success story. Now that we have thoroughly explored why the game sold so well, we could try to answer why nobody seems to talk about it. Why there isn't much online engagement, especially for a game that sold 35 million copies. And well, that's a bit hard to determine as it's not as concrete as following the trail of money that the game left behind. Meaning that I'm moving on to more speculation and subjective thoughts that cannot be backed by articles and press releases. I think one reason for why there's little discussion is because the game is too simple. It only offers transient amusement or brief fun. It's like going to the beach or the pool or a water park. I could go in alone, have a bit of fun and do whatever, but it's not as engaging as if I were to go with my friends. And in the moment, I'm having tons of fun. But after an hour or so, we all get tired and move on. We wouldn't be talking for days about what we did, nor discuss online on Twitter about how fun the pool is. Sure, we could say it's fun, and that's it. Maybe after some time we hear about the new level or new slide, and we come back to have some more fun. However, this isn't something we could do every day, but it's still a delight when we do. This is interesting compared to other games that people do play daily, like Siege, Valorant, or Apex. How can people play on the same maps and do the same thing every day in those games and not Human Fall Flat? I think it comes down to the competitive nature of these games. How tense and chaotic they are elicit engagement along with other incentives. The likes that Human Fall Flat cannot offer. It's far too simple of a game. The same applies to content creators like streamers and YouTubers. I only see them play Human Fall Flat for a brief time, and I struggle to find channels dedicated to the game. And yet a myriad of content creators can be found dedicated to games like Apex, Valorant, and even Among Us. And like before, the reasons relate to how competitive and chaotic those games are. Sure, it's the same map being played on, but so much variability and complexity exists in these spaces, especially when it's with random people every time. No game will ever be the same. Human Fall Flat offers a bit of that, but not to the same degree. There's also other reasons for such dedication, like news about the next update or guides on how to perform better. The news cycle for Human Fall Flat is not as exciting, and I don't think the game has an evolving meta for grabbing. Maybe it's not a fair comparison then. How about games that allow for custom creations to provide more content? Games like Minecraft, Roblox, and Fortnite. Human Fall Flat also has a venue for custom maps through the Steam Workshop and modding. Many channels and creators are dedicated to just one of those games, so why not Human Fall Flat? I believe the game has the same potential as the others, but the accessibility of the custom content holds it back. It's exclusive to the Steam version since the workshop is based on Unity and isn't readily compatible with all other versions. The only way the other versions have access to custom content is if they are voted in by the community and added as a brand new level. Making the custom content is also not as accessible since you basically have to learn Unity to create more maps. The level creators in other games exist within the game itself and are far more approachable. And because of how complicated the custom content is, the quality and quantity isn't there. It's already hard enough to create maps for the game, but then to create good maps is harder. And there are some great maps, but not that many people are skilled enough to make more of them. Also, I'm sure some people are afraid of the workshop page because it's filled with Chinese writing. Oh, I don't want to download any maps because the Chinese government might hack my computer due to this human fall flat level. Like I said though, the potential is there. If there was a way for the custom content to be created and shared within the game itself across all versions, I'm sure more engagement will come. It could resemble something like Roblox, but doing so will heavily undercut the significance of new updates, which also undercut sales. And doing so might cause human fall flat to fall down a slippery slope to monetizing everything, so maybe simple is better. Perhaps another reason for why there seems to be little discussion is because of me. And you. I might just be completely oblivious, trapped in my own echo chamber that just so happens to block discussion about human fall flat. It is a popular game for children, so perhaps they're very vocal about the game and I'm just not hearing it. Thankfully so. It's also popular in China, so all of the discussions might be in Chinese. Despite how I look, I don't automatically understand the language nor use any of their social media sites, so of course I'm not aware. Who knows, maybe the game is just as contentious as The Last of Us Part 2 over there. From what I can find though, I don't see much engagement from them either. But I just might not be looking in the right places. Of course, people do talk about the game. There's a dedicated community that creates new maps and plays them. I mean, they're the ones voting for a new map to become an official level. I just don't know the scale of that community, and I don't know if it's proportional to the millions of sales the game flaunts. It might just be a game that's too simple to really talk about. But that's not a bad thing at all when the game is still fun and still making money. This spotlight's more of an issue with this Wikipedia list of the highest selling games and other similar lists. Their use of the unit sales figure to rank all games might be outmoded now. They could be misleading like in the case of Human Fall Flat and its pricing. The lists are also archaic because of microtransactions and free games. Games can make much more money now despite their initial price tag. Without microtransactions, the highest potential a copy of a game can make is capped at whatever the highest price is, plus whatever much from DLCs. Human Fall Flat is normally $20, but there's a physical release that's $30. Therefore, the most amount of money a single copy of Human Fall Flat could potentially make is capped at $30. However, if a game were to have microtransactions, even if it's just $1, then a single copy's potential is infinite. Obviously, it won't actually make an infinite amount of money, but the potential is infinite, and that carries so much. For example, a free game could make more money than a single copy of Human Fall Flat from 31 people spending $1, or from just one person spending $31. Sometimes these games just need to hook a whale that's willing to spend thousands of dollars on a single game. So it's not just about selling copies anymore, it's about selling cosmetics, battle passes, straight up in-game advantages, and of the most sinful and lucrative, waifus. It's ironic, but free games do make way more money than paid games. If you only looked at how many copies Fortnite sold, you know, the co-op survival zombie game, you'd think this game completely bombed despite the fact that everyone seems to play and talk about Fortnite. This is the exact inverse of what's happening with Human Fall Flat and truly highlights how misleading the unit sales figure can be. So why is it being used? Really, it's just a way to dress up big numbers to impress investors and customers. Curve leans heavy into that with Human Fall Flat, putting this 35 million sales figure right on the game's store pages to show how popular the game seems. Plenty of other games still use this figure to impress, like Elden Ring with 20 million tarnished, or 20 million sales. Meanwhile, this figure might not matter to other games like Skyrim. They don't need to update their stats or flaunt any numbers because you will buy the game again. The figure might also not be as impressive nor relevant, so other stats are used to impress, such as fastest selling game or most amount of players. And each figure provides its own issues, but all that matters is finding a large number to parade to the press. And I'm not calling for the total renouncement of the unit sales figure. Maybe they're not as relevant for comparing the biggest games of all time, but they are a helpful frame of reference for the top-selling games within a shorter time frame. And it's a much better figure to use than the top-grossing games, otherwise most of the entries would be the same mobile games. I made this video because I was intrigued by how Human Fall Flat sold so much and found these answers. And I found how misleading these numbers can be, but seeing a game like Human Fall Flat succeed is great. A game doesn't need the biggest budget, the best graphics, the longest development time, or the greediest monetization system to succeed. It just needs to be fun, and Human Fall Flat shows the purity of that. But luck and smart decision making is what makes the game flourish, the latter of which is apparently hard to find at the top of the games industry. And honestly, I hope the sales don't stop at 35 million. Let's get it to 50 million. I just hope that this video doesn't persuade the game into becoming free to play or being filled with microtransactions. And if it does, I'm so sorry, but who knows. Maybe people will actually talk about the game if it does happen.